All right, welcome back to the Down Home podcast that we have not done in like a year or two at this point. We are starting this podcast announcing that this is the last podcast and also announcing some other stuff. We've just spent so many years on social media. It kind of all got kicked off when Sid announced her pregnancy with Beckham. And that was like 8 years ago. We've been doing this for kind of a long time. And recently we've put obviously less energy into it. But it's been a crazy journey. There are people on the other side of this that have followed us from moving to California to moving to Arizona to moving back to Utah, having all of our kids, like all of that was recorded and documented on social media.
Which is wild because whenever we meet people who like have followed us for that long, it's hard for me to like really understand that there's people who have cared about our life for that long and who see us that way, because I
don't know why people even care about it.
Yeah, we didn't start our social media accounts for that reason, and we always just started it. When I first started dating Tay, he asked me like why I cared about posting on social media and like why I did it, because I was more active on social media.
At the time, she just had like, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't have
followers or something.
I wasn't an influencer. I still don't see myself as like an influencer.
We're still not influencers for sure.
But I definitely wasn't. Yeah, he just was asking like why I use social media, and just out of genuine curiosity. And I remember telling him like, oh, I just kind of see it as a scrapbook, like a place for me to document my life and to put my thoughts. And I really like creating, so I like taking pictures. I like creating and just taking pictures of my life. I've always liked taking pictures. My mom has always
before we met, she was doing that.
My mom was always someone who had like a camera with her, whether it was a small one or like a big one. She just was always taking pictures and scrapbooking. And I'm not a huge scrapbooker, so I just saw Instagram as a place to kind of do that and have a place to put my pictures, because I take a lot of pictures just for fun. And so I've always just seen Instagram as that for me. Like I've always just seen it as like I'm showing someone happy moments and memories of my life that I would put in a scrapbook. Like I feel like people get a lot of hate on social media for sharing like these really happy moments. But if you were to look at someone's scrapbook of that their mom made them when they were a baby, all of those pictures would be very happy times that their mom wanted them to remember. And so I just really wanted it to just be a spot that like I knew all of our best friends, all of our close family members, our extended family members, people that we were close to and then moved away from, that they could keep up with us. And that's how I've always seen it. And over time, we gained a small following. And so I guess I probably should have changed my perspective of what social media was, but it was hard for my brain to do that. And it has been hard for my brain to do that for a long time, because I just feel like I'm posting to the people in my circle that are close to me, that know my heart and know me. But in reality, that's not the case. All these people, as much as I would love to think that they care and know me on a deep level, they just don't, because we don't get to sit down and talk with you guys. We don't get to see you on a weekly basis. And so fortunately, my mindset of social media never changed over the past 8 years. And so that kind of leads us into...
And well, I think it's important to say that I agree with everything Sydney said. And I also love how social media has transitioned to something so much more genuine and authentic and not just a scrapbook.
Yeah.
And I will say I was so impressed with Sydney's answer when we were dating. Like why I asked her, like, I don't know if it was I don't know. I just asked her. I just thought to ask her. And when she told me that, I was very impressed. I was like, that just makes a lot of sense. It's a place to document memories. But in that time, obviously, so much has happened. Beckham wasn't born, and now he's turning 7. And our family has just matured a lot. We've changed a lot. And it kind of feels like the next natural progression for us and our family to be done with social media.
Yeah.
But we understand that like people roll their eyes and they're like, oh my goodness, an announcement video that they're done with social media. They
Like
think
no one needs to know. It's not
they
that
think
big
they're
a
so
deal.
important. We genuinely like we would not have done this. But last year, if you remember, we did take an 8-month break and we didn't announce anything.
Well, it started with me just wanting to take a break from social media. Tay kept his for a while, and I was like, I'm just gonna get off. Like, I don't need to
Tell anyone.
tell anyone. Like, obviously, I'll tell close family and friends, like if they ask like why my social media is gone. But for the most part, like I don't feel like I need to make even just a story like, hey guys, I'm getting off for a little bit. I'm taking a break. I just was like, I can just get off and it's fine. And no one will notice. And even if they notice, no one will really care. And we get off and I get off first. And then over time, you decided to do so yourself as well. But we had people reaching out to our family members asking, like, these are people that probably even could have texted us, asking close family members if we were okay, like what happened to our family, like if Tay and I had gotten a divorce.
Like separated or having issues.
Some people were looking into it so much that they realized because they went to Tay's account and noticed that certain reels were off of his profile. And because certain reels were off of his profile, they were like, oh my gosh, like they stopped building their home. They're getting a divorce or this and this and this. And it was only because I deleted my account that those reels went away because I was the collaborator on them. So they went off of his page and people noticed. And
just crazy people are tracking.
Yeah. And we just didn't realize that it would be like that at all. Like we just thought I could take a break and it wouldn't really matter. And I honestly was kind of sad too, that like we've become so immune to a world of social media that when someone gets off of it, it's like something's wrong with them. And I was so sad because I was like, honestly, like when I see someone like who does announce that they're taking a break for social media, I'm like, good for them. Like they must be in a really good spot in their life, or at least aware enough that they should take a break. And it made me sad that people were so quick to assume or judge the worst when really we were in like probably the best stage of life, like most content, most happy.
With social media gone during that time, like we were just so focused on what was right in front of us. We got to, I don't know, there were just so many things that
some of our family trips we took in those 8 months were our favorite family trips we've taken. We moved into our house during that time. Like that was really like, and I think it still is, like we are the happiest and most content we have really been in a really long time. And I think
we don't need to make that case to anyone.
Yeah.
We just at least wanted to like give an announcement because, or I don't even want to call it an announcement, just let people know so that people, when we're gone, people don't
I think
assume the worst.
Yeah, we just don't want people to assume the worst. And I guess there are people who even are semi-close to us that did assume the worst. And we just want to make sure.
Wait, what? Clarify who? What?
Well, there were
people who were semi-close to us.
Yeah, there were people semi-close to us that could have texted us, that reached out to family and asked if we were doing okay.
Yeah.
So I think this is more just to like let everyone know in advance before we just kind of go dark, because I thought you could go dark and no one would assume terrible things. And also just to kind of say goodbye, because this isn't just a break that we're taking. This is permanent. Like this is something that we want.
Right.
That we're not going to be on these accounts ever again. Like these accounts will be gone. So because it also is permanent, like maybe if we were just taking another break, we wouldn't announce, like we wouldn't say anything about it. But because this is so permanent and something that we've been doing for so long, I think it makes sense to say something after the experience we had just going dark last time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So like first off, I think we're on the second or third point now, but there are reasons why we're doing this outside of, I think the main reason for sure is that our family's maturing.
Well, our kids, not as much our family is maturing, but our kids are just getting older.
That's kind of what I mean.
Same thing, I guess. But our kids are getting older and we just don't necessarily feel as comfortable as we once did. And maybe we shouldn't have ever felt comfortable. But they're just getting older where they're more aware of things, and
we want them to be able to control like their online presence and not feel like they have to get in a picture or a video for social media. Like, yeah, they should have their own destiny with that. And if that's something they want to do when they're allowed to and when they're ready to, like, that's fine.
Yeah. I think there was a time and place for it, and our personal just opinion has changed on as our kids get older. There's just not really a lot of reason to do it, and their privacy probably should have been considered beforehand, and that's our own fault. But their privacy, as they get older and are more aware of things, I think their privacy will always be our first priority, and our first, like, what we will always think about in the future. So
Yeah, so everything we're about to like elaborate on is really like mostly our fault. I think we made some of these decisions like semi innocently. We didn't really understand maybe the consequences of some of our choices sharing our life on social media. So yeah, one of our main areas of concern has been privacy. And there's a lot of different categories that kind of falls under, but one example is our home. We honestly made a massive mistake by sharing the exterior of our home and like what it looks like, because we have people driving by every single day, and they take videos and they look in the windows, and we've had people in our backyard. I even had an experience where I walked out to go to work and someone knew my work schedule and pulled into our driveway super fast to try to talk to me and try to like meet me. It was really weird, and I just don't like really see myself that way, but they did, and that was like really alarming. And for privacy and safety of our family, like that's just one example of like a lot of categories on privacy that kind of have us worried.
yeah, this is our own mistake and our own fault for being so open to sharing, like, what our exterior of our home looks like. And yeah, we made big mistakes on that one, and we'll accept those for sure, and learn from that. We've even talked about maybe we just have to sell our home and learn from our mistake and build it again, where no one knows what our outside of our home looks like.
Never share an exterior again.
Yeah, because it has become a point of not necessarily fear, but it just is eye-opening, because I don't think we're necessarily scared, but the older our kids get, like we've said, we just want to protect their privacy and our own privacy as well. It's just something that we've come to value over time after not having it. And
yeah, it was like nice when we went off of social media during those 8 months, where when we talked to someone, they didn't know everything about our life already.
Yeah, and we don't even share that much about our life.
No, we especially the past 6 months, we've like
private. I feel like even
back.
on social media, like, anyways. But I do think it's just something that we will take and we'll learn from, and it's our own fault. But
it's our own fault.
I think we also just, like you kind of said, like, we did it in a way that we didn't really feel like. We don't really see ourselves as people who have like thousands of people kind of watching our every move. And I think that when I post something of the exterior of my home, I'm like, oh, the people that are seeing this are like my friends who already know where I live and my family. And I was even talking to my close friends about it, and I was like, it's our fault. Like, we shouldn't have shared certain things. And they were like, oh, that's just a natural, like, exciting time in your life that you would want to share. And I'm like, yeah, it is a very natural, exciting, like, milestone in my life that I wanted to share to my close friends and family. And that's how I see myself on social media sometimes. And so it was a naive way to think, for sure. But it just goes back to not really necessarily seeing like the whole picture sometimes of like some certain people like see us as influencers, and I hate that word, and I don't see myself in that way, but I just think that we don't see ourselves like that. So we were posting exteriors of our home, not really
thinking like, oh, like someone could know where our kids are at night. Like, anyway, yeah, that's an emotional topic for sure, because it's something we talk about a lot, and we honestly get a little bit frustrated by when we see people constantly going back and forth with their phones out the door. And anyways, we take full accountability for that mistake and other mistakes we've made on social media and made as being human. And we're definitely wanting to change that and do better in that way.
Yeah, I think with taking as long of a break as we did last year,
definitely opened our eyes.
It opened our eyes, and also just like the purpose of why I got off was just that I could kind of live off the grid in a way. And we did end up having personal accounts that we let certain people follow that we know are close to us, that we see on a regular basis. But it was nice to just be like, I can just fully enjoy and take in the life in front of me. And I don't live in this like virtual world of people who I don't know personally and they don't know me personally. And it was so refreshing and so nice. And I think that when it comes down to it, we just, our family is entering a stage where our kids are starting to get in a lot of different hobbies, and we're entering like this new stage of age of kids. And we want to just fully embrace and enjoy the next stage we're in. I'm not saying you can't like fully embrace or enjoy life or be content being on social media. I just think it's our personality, or at least my personality, of wanting to kind of be off the grid and not share a lot. One of my best friends who I look up to a lot in life, she lives in Arizona. When I first met her, I remember that after our first initial meeting, I went to social media to try to find her and like look her up and find some stuff out about her and stuff, and like see pictures of her family and her kids. And she's not on social media. She doesn't have Instagram. She uses Snapchat to just send things to her close friends and family to keep in touch with people who she doesn't live by. But other than that, she is not on social media, on Facebook or Instagram or anything. And I remember this was 5 years ago that I met her. And I remember telling Tay after that, I wish that was me. I wish, and this is just my own personality.
I've been saying this for years.
I've been saying it for so long. I'm like, that is so awesome that she just doesn't have it. Like it's just not a part of her life. And I have been saying for so long, like, I just don't want it to be a part of my life. I don't want it to be a part of my kids' lives. And I always remember being kind of envious of her. And over time, I'm like, why can't I just permanently not have it? And if I choose to have a personal account to keep in touch with certain people, then I can. But why can't I not live the life that she has, as far as just not having it and not living in that world of social media?
I remember you being like so like impacted by the fact that she didn't have social media. She only had Snapchat, and like how, like you said, envious. Like I could tell you were like envious. Like,
well, and I
wanted
loved
that
it
so
too,
bad.
because I remember being like, oh, I just have to get to know her for who she is on the inside. And I cannot get on a social media account and try to figure out who she is for myself before I get to know her.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what happened. Is I got to know her for who she was without having like this preconceived notion of who she was beforehand. And she is one of the most amazing people. And who knows, like, I'm sure I would have gotten to know how amazing she was no matter what. But if that social media factor was there, maybe I would have had a preconceived notion and not fully gotten to know her the way I did.
Because you're so judgmental.
No,
I'm just kidding, obviously, but yeah, it's
but you can have kind of a preconceived notion of what type of person someone is or what kind of family they are if you go to their social media account and start making prejudgments about things without ever talking to them before.
And we've had that happen to us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we're just entering like a stage of life where we really want to build genuine connections and friendships and relationships, and be a part of a community where we can, I don't know, be involved and have our kids be involved, and not be
online
and have, like, I don't know, people judging who they think that you are, even though they've never said hello.
Yeah.
And so anyways,
I think it's just really powerful too, to just be like, the friends I have in my life are my friends, regardless of whether they know what's going on in my life. Like, they will pick up the phone and they will call me, or they will text me.
That was interesting when we got off. Like,
or we'll see the people that are important in our life, and we're important in their life. Like, they won't go away. Like, and the friendships you make afterwards too, like those will be there no matter what. And so I think we found a lot of happiness in that as well.
And I have to make a little confession. I think for like so many years I saw like Sid's very small following as like somewhat of like an asset, if you want to talk like a guy. Like, if I need to start a business, like, we could try to, start it and have you use your page. We never used it once, really. Like, maybe besides trying to hire people, we'd post stuff. But like, I was always very afraid to let it go, just because of that. But now that we're
And it's so
settled,
funny because I've never really used my social media
you've done like 3
for like
ads.
ads or like
Yeah.
that's maybe why I don't see myself as an influencer, is because I never have really made money off of social media. I think I've had like a few ads out that I've made money on, like literally 3 in 8 years that I've actually made money on.
They're like $200.
And I just,
By the way, she's been using that budget that she earned for years. Like, oh, but I did that ad. And it's like, yeah, that money was gone in like 2 seconds. But let's try.
and yeah, maybe that's.
But we just
the other
don't. We
thing,
don't
but
need the
that's-
asset anymore.
yeah,
For like
we're
we're
not.
settled. My career is established. Like
And we never have used it that
Yeah.
way. It's never been for that purpose. Like we said, we started it to just share with our family and close friends, and that's what we want to keep it as. And
yeah,
going back to the privacy thing a little bit, talking about like our first priority will always be to like protect our kids' privacy and protect them. All of our family and close friends know that we are planning to adopt in the future, and this is a very like sacred and personal experience to us, that like as we have looked into the future of doing that, it's a very special thing that will have a lot of ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we know like this is a personal and sacred experience that we want to also kind of protect in a way, and that child we also want to protect their privacy. And just as much as like our own kids, that is our future child. If I was pregnant, that's how we would feel. And that's our future child that we also want to protect their privacy. And as we enter into that phase and chapter of our life too, like it only makes sense to protect their privacy too.
we've been so excited to adopt for so long. We've been down this road for a while now, and we're starting things and just really seeing the future of what adoption would look like while keeping social media. And we just worry for we worry for our next child's privacy, and we just want to protect them through that experience, because it will be sacred and divine in its own way. And we're so excited for that time of life. We don't want someone we don't want it to be ruined because we had social media. So that's another thing too, along the privacy topic. But anyway, I mean, we just really want to thank anyone and everyone for interacting with us over the years. There have been so many friendships that have been found out of it, and we're grateful for those relationships. And we're also thankful for any and all of the opportunities that have come through social media. We definitely do not take it for granted. And we just feel very humbled and thankful. So thank you for being a part
thanks
of
for
our
following
journey.
along, even when we didn't really realize how many
We made
people were,
mistakes.
and even through making mistakes, we're grateful for people following along for so many years. I've probably said this to certain people who maybe are watching this because they're followers that have been following along for a long time. But whenever I get a message that from one of you that is really kind or uplifting, I always respond with like, messages like this are what keep me on here. And I stick by that. Like all of the messages that we have received from certain people over time, whether they were a year ago or 6 years ago, anything that someone has said that's so kind and just uplifting, I've always responded and saying like, these are the messages that keep me on just a little bit longer. I just want to like thank all the people who have been really so kind and who have cared about our family and our updates and our journey on here, because those messages really have meant the world, and they just make me feel like oh, it's a little bit more worth it on the moments where I'm like, I'm just gonna get off forever. I get a kind message, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stay on for a little bit, because there are such good people out there who are following along and do care. So thank you to all those people who have been so supportive of our family for so many years, and
You'll see us start some private accounts that will just be super small. It's only for family and best friends.
We did that on our break last time, and I feel like at the end of the 8 months, we kind of like opened the door of like, oh, we'll just let whoever follow us now. But these accounts really will be just like for the people that we see and who or maybe we don't see super often, but they're family that we don't live by or something. But like really people that we just want
or
to
friends who are
to see
family.
casual life updates or whatever. We really do want to keep it to that because if we're getting off social media permanently, it doesn't make sense to have accounts that are for everyone. So you'll see those, and that's what those are for. And we will stay on for the next about week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
About a week to kind of just.
Not that anyone cares, but we're gonna keep these posts up for like, or the accounts with the posts up for like a week. If you need anything, if you want to connect before we close the accounts, you know where to find us. Send us a DM.
We're also staying on for a week because I really want to make chatbooks of all of my posts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Wow, free shout out there. Sid's fourth.
Oh, my
promo.
ads are just raking in the dough.
Yeah, it's so nice. Thank you for doing that for us.
No, I'm just like so sad about all of my posts being permanently gone. I'm like, because when we took a break, we just deactivated it. But I'm like, if they're going to be permanently gone, they need to be somewhere because I truly have
a lot of memories on there.
The memories, and also we've gotten made fun of this, but the captions I truly see
the journal entries. They are journal entries.
Journal entries, and it's so funny because I know people laugh at my captions sometimes, but like I truly see it as like I'm posting a memory and then I'm posting my feelings that go along with that memory or my experiences that I want to share about a certain picture. And people think that maybe is like a little bit dramatic or too far, but I truly am just like
Mrs. Journal Queen. I'm
journaling, and those journal entries can't go to waste. I have to have them somewhere for my kids to look back on. Like I truly like.
It's just like scrapbooking.
Yeah, when I write a post out, I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids are gonna look back at this post. Which who even knows if they'll be able to access social media when they're older, like Instagram, I mean. But I'm like, oh, they'll be able to read this caption and know exactly how I felt about them turning 4, or exactly how we felt on the 4th of July when we were talking to them about whatever. Like
so lit.
Obviously, it's so personal. Like those experiences are personal. And it just goes back to like who we're sharing it for. And it's for our future kids and our family. And that's probably the only people who care anyways. And so
yeah.
Give us that week to make them permanent somewhere.
Exactly. So with that,
if you see us out and about, please still come say hi.
Please say hi. We want to meet all of you. Like genuinely, we want to build friendships with you. So come say hi. Don't be nervous. Promise we don't bite. We're kind of nice.
Kind of nice.
Yeah. But with that, we love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this journey. You guys mean so much to us. Thank you for following. We are excited about our path forward and feel a ton of peace as a family to take this next step forward and start a new chapter without social media. And with that,
hopefully we'll see you in real life. But
yes. Give me a kiss so people know that we're not getting divorced.
I very much will stay married to Jay for the rest of forever.
Same. Anyway, this is awkward now. I don't know how to end. See you in real life. Sid and Faye, out.